pair of Ukrainian tanks engaged a speeding Russian armored personnel carrier at point-blank range just 50 feet or so in a shocking skirmish in Russia's Kursk Oblast apparently this week. The outcome was never in doubt. The tanks from the Ukrainian Army's 17th Tank Brigade, either T-64s or T-72s, blasted the Russian APC twice, thoroughly wrecking it. "Closest tank engagement I've ever seen," noted Mark Hertling, a retired U.S. Army general. The bizarre fight began with the Russian vehicle speeding across a field toward the two Ukrainian tanks parked along a tree line somewhere in or near the roughly 300-square-mile Ukrainian-held salient in Kursk. Why the crew of that lightly armed, thinly protected APC would drive straight toward a pair of tanks armed with 125mm cannons and protected by hundreds of millimeters of steel is a mystery. It's possible the Russians misidentified the Ukrainian tanks as Russian tanks. Russian and Ukrainian forces do use many of the same tank models, after all. It's also possible the Russians believed the tanks were immobilized and abandoned. Smoke curling from the engine compartment of the lead Ukrainian tank hinted that the vehicle had suffered some damage. In any event, the APC took a direct hit from a 70-pound shell. Incredibly, several Russian soldiers spilled out of the ruined vehicle. How did 3 Russian crewmen survive, much less walk away? Hertling mused. One Russian survivor sprinted right past the lead Ukrainian tank's turret. Why the Ukrainian crew didn't open fire with the tank's coaxial machine gun, aligned with the bigger main gun, is another mystery. Did the Ukrainian tank crew consider cokes? Hertling asked. 2 more Russian survivors cowered behind the APC's smoking wreckage until a smaller projectile, possibly a drone or grenade, exploded nearby. They ran in the opposite direction as their comrade, away from the tanks. And that was when the second Ukrainian tank fired a second 125mm round, inflicting what Hertling characterized as needless additional damage on the already destroyed Russian vehicle. The skirmish was just one of many, as Ukraine's invasion of Kursk grinds into its 10th week, and Russian forces counterattack along the western edge of the salient. Russian and Ukrainian troops find themselves mixing together in the chaos of the competing offensives. The front is so fluid and unpredictable that, last week, Russian Marines overran a Ukrainian drone team forces who are normally behind the first line of troops near the village of Zelenskyy. The Russians stripped and executed the 9 Ukrainians, provoking a bloody campaign of revenge by Ukrainian paratroopers. Russia's casualties and weapons losses in the war with Ukraine are adding up, according to a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, by the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, posted on Thursday. The new post, listing Russian losses from February 24, 2022, to October 17, 2024, revealed that Russia lost 1,420 troops, 133 vehicles, and 51 artillery in one day. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine posted this information alongside the quote, "Change before you have to, Jack Welch." In addition to the losses listed in the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine's post on X, Russia also lost 83 cars and cisterns, 54 unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, 33 armored fighting vehicles, 17 tanks, and 5 pieces of special equipment, according to Armed Forces of Ukraine figures. While Ukrainian authorities frequently publish updates on Russian losses, Russia does not publicize its military losses. Newsweek reached out to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation for comment via email. Since Monday, Russia has reportedly lost 5,340 men, 100 artillery systems, 112 UAVs, and more. According to its post on X, Ukraine has claimed that since the beginning of the war, it has eliminated 674,270 Russian personnel, 19,510 artillery systems, 17,104 UAVs, and 53,831 vehicles. Russia's artillery losses this year alone have amounted to $8 billion, and the total cost of Russia's lost equipment in Ukraine amounts to more than $73 billion. Despite these losses, Russia has regained nearly a quarter of its previously lost Kursk Oblast territory as of October 15th. Moreover, Russia has reportedly gained forces as thousands of North Korean soldiers have joined the front lines in Ukraine as the relationship between Russia and North Korea strengthens and are highly likely to deploy more. As Russia has gained increasing support from North Korea, Ukraine has received arms from Australia, as the country has provided 49 M1A1 Abram tanks, a military aid package which is valued at $245 million.
Armata!
This aid package follows a $375 million military aid package given to Ukraine at the end of September, which comprised of medium-range cluster bombs, an array of rockets, artillery, armored vehicles, and munitions for the high-mobility artillery rocket system. The latest aid package from the U.S. is part of a larger $2.4 billion long-term aid package to Ukraine announced on September 26th. As the war wages on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has been presenting his victory plan for the end of the war to world leaders in the US, UK, France, Italy, and Germany, as he hopes to gain more support from Western allies. Zelenskyy's victory plan is comprised of military, political, diplomatic, and economic strategies that will aid Ukraine in improving in its future negotiations with Moscow.
Выстрел! Залив, залив, я...